Greetings all. I've had some requests over the last couple months for breaking down some of the patches that I use for my ambient guitar recordings. And I thought I'd go ahead and do that breakdown of a recent ambient guitar meditation that I posted here on YouTube. It's called The Breath Goes Now. If you haven't checked it out already, I'll include a link to it so you can kind of listen to it. All right, so let's get into the breakdown of the patch. First thing I'll mention is the instrument I used for that recording, and that is the Ibanez SRC6 short scale bass. I did a recent ambient guitar review of this instrument, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to that also. All right, how did I get the sound? Well, the first thing I did was pull up my trusty 11-rack amp modeling unit. And so I've got the editor on the screen here, and I'm just going to kind of walk through the effects. If you don't have the 11-rack, just look at the types of effects I'm using in the particular signal order, and if you've got similar effects, you'll be able to achieve a similar sound. Okay, so the first place I want to go is the amplifier itself, so the amp model. What I've got pulled up here is a Fender amp model. It's basically kind of a mid-60s Fender amp. And you can see here that the volume's cranked up to 9. Treble, mids are cranked up pretty high. Bass is not that high. Let me go ahead and move that up just a bit. And let's hear what that sounds like. Oh, by the way, I'm using a 4x10 speaker cabinet, and this is a dynamic microphone model. So here's the bass sound. Sorry, that's a pun. The basic sound of the instrument through this amp. That's the basic line from The Breath Goes Now, by the way. All right, so let's start adding in some effects. The first thing I did was, before the bass even hits the 11-rack, I added in my Wampler Ego Compressor. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I've got most of the settings about halfway up on the Wampler. So here it is. Okay, so not too different. You can just hear that I'm kind of squishing down the signal. The next thing I wanted was to chop off some of the attack of the notes. You know, you could do that with a volume pedal or kind of manipulating the volume control. But I also have the Mooer Audio Slow Engine, again, which I've done a review of if you're interested, and I decided to go ahead and use that. So I've got the attack of the Mooer Slow Engine kind of at 9 or 10 o'clock, as you can see, and let's take a listen to what that sounds like when I turn it on. Okay, pretty cool. So that's the basic sound of the amp and a couple of simple effects that are front-ending the amp. So let's start going through the signal chain and see how all the effects together are going to kind of warp this sound into that, the sound that I like it a lot, the sound that's used in The Breath Goes Now. First up is a vibe phaser. So let's check that out. So as you can see on the screen, this particular unit has obviously volume. It has a setting between a chorus and a vibrato sound. So right now this is on the vibrato, so it's a little bit of a vibe going, and I've got the depth set to 6. Let me play around with the depth. Okay, so you can hear how it gets deeper as you increase the depth. So if you've got a chorus pedal or a phaser pedal with vibrato settings or anything along that line, you'll be good to go. One of the things that's interesting about this patch is that the vibe phaser is in front of a distortion. And I'm using a model of, a kind of a classic tube screamer kind of overdrive. So let me go ahead and turn that on. It's not set real high, and the tone is not set real high either. And it's just going to add more grit to the sound. So here it is without. And here it is on. So you get a little distortion of the vibe phaser. All right, so we're going to skip over the amp. I already did that. Next, let's go to reverb. So if you've got a reverb unit like a Strymon Big Sky or, I don't know, like one of the Boss reverbs, you can definitely get a sound that is similar to this. This is just a very long reverb, and I've got the decay kind of set a little bit more than halfway. No pre-delay, the tone is all the way up, and here's the kicker. The mix is all the way up. So whatever delay pedal you have, make sure that you can get one that allows you to chop out all of the original guitar signal and just play the reverbed signal. So here's what this sounds like turned on. And you can hear that as a really long tail on the reverb. Let me pull the mix back so you can hear the guitar in with the reverb. Okay, so you can adjust this obviously to your taste. Let me just pull it back to 9 here. There we go, 9.2. All right, great. Next, we need some delay, and here's the other interesting thing. This delay is after the reverb, so we're going to delay the reverb. I'm going to turn off the reverb for a second so we can check that out. This is a stereo reverb, so if you're like me and you've got a couple reverb pedals, chances are you've got a ping-pong stereo reverb delay that's set to about 600 milliseconds, a fair amount of feedback, and the mix is set to 50%. Let's listen to that. Okay, so nothing crazy on the delay, but when you add the reverb in front of the delay, it gets a little crazier. Pretty cool, huh? Let's keep going here. Next effect after the delay is a chorus. And this is just a standard chorus. So let's listen to that by itself. So your standard chorus sound, you can hear that the chorus effect is kind of medium, the rate is medium, depth is medium, so it's not like crazy chorus. But again, when we add everything in, it's pretty nice. Our final effect, let me turn some stuff off here, is another chorus. It's a multi-chorus. This is it's a stereo chorus that allows you to specify the number of chorused voices and the width. It can do things like pre-delay, and you can adjust the depth and all that good stuff. So again, if you've got a stereo chorus unit, you'll be able to get a sound similar to this. Let me go ahead and play it. Pretty familiar sound, right? So let's go ahead and put it all together. All right, there we go. Let's try it. All right, that is the basic patch for the Breath Goes Now. Let's just talk for a minute about how you might go about playing it. It's a pretty simple line. I'm going to go ahead and turn off some of these effects so it sounds a little clearer. It's basically in the key of E. Okay, so it's just a low E on a standard bass, and with that compressor and the slow engine, basically you can just play an E, a B, and a G. Here we go. Let me do that again. Watch my right hand. All right, the only note I'm plucking is the low E. I'm hammering on the B and the G. All right, the next part is simply E minor chord to an A major chord, and here's how I play it. Okay, same thing. Now watch this. All right, so let me just walk through that briefly. So I've got that G going, and I'm just going to hit a D, which is the B string on the 3rd fret, and then just come down to the C sharp, and then play the A at the same time. Let me turn everything back on and play it again. And then one of the other things I do in the song is I actually hit the back of the guitar neck. So I'm dampening all the strings except for the low E and just hitting the neck with the back of the neck with my hand. Let me see if I can get it on the screen here. There we go. Sorry. Alrighty, there you have it. A breakdown of a Chords of Orion ambient guitar patch. Hopefully you found this helpful in terms of how I kind of break out the patch into the different effects, and hopefully you'll be able to get some use out of it on your rig. Again, you don't need to have the Avid 11 rack or the exact same effects. It's more about the concept of what types of effects to put together into a signal chain to get this type of a sound. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. I've got ambient guitar related content coming every week. And as always, I'll see all of you on the next video.